Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Deathray here. Hope you guys are having a lovely, lovely day. It is Friday, so hell yeah. How about that? Little Friday celebration for everyone. Ooh, let me see. There we go. I can even warm that mic up a little bit more for you guys since I'm speaking softly on these story time streams. Hope you guys are having a lovely day so far. It is just after 1:30 out here in the Arizona desert on Friday, December 19th. Guys, we are so close to Christmas, aren't we? We're very, very close. I can feel it. I can feel the Christmas spirit. It's been a good week. Hopefully you guys have had a good week as well. It's been a very active week on the channel. What I did at the beginning of the week is I recorded a handful of news stories, and then I just took my time editing and releasing them one day after another. So maybe that's what I'll do, is kind of like a slow drip of pre-recorded content. Sometimes there's going to be news, though, that's like, oh my gosh, this breaks, I got to cover it, and I'm going to shoot it, edit it, and get it out to you guys as soon as possible. But I appreciate you guys, everyone that tunes into those premieres. It's a lot of fun to see that chat going on those. And the one that dropped today is a movie called Hokum. It's a trailer breakdown for a movie called Hokum, written and directed by Damien McCarthy, who did Caveat and Oddity. And I saw the trailer when I watched Keeper. It freaked the hell out of me. If you guys haven't watched that video, check out the trailer first on your own and then watch my breakdown, because I'm just going to do it slow-mo. But the movie looks super creepy to me. I'm very, very curious to see, what's going to come of that film. And yeah, very excited to be hanging out with you guys. I'm going to read a couple chapters of the Terrifier 3 novel. So we're going to take a look at chapters 13 and 14 today. And then I've got to hop in the shower, get ready for work, and go work until late into the evening. So yeah, a little late night with the Davey before dark. I thought I had everything pulled up here correctly, but it looks like I didn't. So is this the one? There we go. Little late night with the Davey before dark. I'm phasing out the QR code. I do like the Art the Clown. You know what? I'm just going to leave that one up there because it's got Art the Clown. So even though it's not late night for the people in the States, it is getting there for the people in the UK. So yeah, it's fun to do these streams where we can bring in a different bit of the audience, which there we go. We've got Gina, aka My Chunky Jordy, one of our great channel members. Says, hi, everyone. She's out there across the pond. I'm taking Ziggy to visit his dad for Christmas and New Year. Stu's cooking. Nice. What does Stu make? What does Stu make that's that stands out for you? And we've got, let's see, King Matthew III dropped in to say hello. He's unable to make it. Hope your grandmother's okay there, King Matthew. We got Gene Whitcomb hanging out with us. How are you doing, Gene? Thank you so much for kicking it with us. We have our great channel member, Stephanie Hinkle, in the house. How are you doing, Steph? Thank you so much for hanging. We've got Paula Fitzhenry. What's happening, Paula? How are you doing? Look at that. Keelan from Kill the Credits dropping a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Keelan. I think that means we reached our super chat goal. That's all it was the silliest super chat goal I could ever create, which is buy me an energy drink for my shift tonight, which is like definitely not your guys' responsibility. The super chat stuff is just extra. It's fun. Definitely not required. All that I do ask, though, is that you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and that you share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content. You can also hype the channel or hype the videos. You know, with the live streams, after they're done being live, you can hype them. But also I've got that pre-recorded content, so you can hype those as well. So plenty of stuff you can do for free that helps the channel and helps our community grow. So thank you guys so much for everything that you already do, because you guys are amazing. I see the numbers in my analytics, and you guys certainly help quite a bit. And thank you so much for the $5, Keelan. Guys, Keelan's got a stream tonight. Remember our buddy Lido that was on Wednesday? Yeah. Lido is going to be over on Keelan's channel. They are going to watch All Through the House, which is a Christmas-themed horror movie where Lido plays the killer. So they're going to watch that. I believe it's going to be Keelan's very first time watching it. Not only that, it's going to be Keelan's very first live stream. So if you're not already subscribed to Kill the Credits, I'm not sure if we have a mod here, Keelan. But let me see what I can do. I think I can share the channel, your channel, with everybody in the chat here. So yeah, guys, if you're not already subscribed to Keelan's channel, go ahead and jump on over there, throw him a sub, set a reminder for that stream. I'm actually going to pin Keelan's link into the chat. So it's up at the top of the chat. If you're not already subscribed, go over there and throw him a sub. Set the notification so you don't miss that stream later on this evening. I'm going to be at work, but I will jump in and say hi and hang out as much as I can. How about that? How about that? We got Kyle Curtis Flett hanging out with us. How are you doing, Kyle? Thank you so much for joining us. We got Gory Tiger in the house. What's happening, Gory? Bone App the Teat, Davey. I'm trying to think of what that means. Bone App the Teat. Oh, Bon Appetit. Gotcha. Yeah, it'll probably be sugar-free Monster is probably what I'll get. There's a nice little gas station next to the place where I'm going to be working. And when I say nice little gas station, I mean it is. They keep it nice and clean in there, and clean, spacious restrooms, and they got the energy drink that I like. So how about that? Holy cow, Ty Lee jumping in and dropping a $5 as well. Thank you so much, Ty. Really appreciate you. And Ty doesn't have anything of note to say. Ty just wants to support the channel, so thank you so very much. Really do appreciate you guys jumping in. I did not expect to have a couple super chats, not even 10 minutes into the stream. I haven't even read a damn thing. Thank you so much, Ty. Really appreciate you. Gina says, I think we're having lamb shoulder this year, and he makes great Yorkshire puddings. I try to say Yorkshire the right way, because I know it's not Yorkshire. That's what we like to say. We like to add stuff. But I know that Americans, when they do British accents, they elongate vowels, but that's actually something that we do as Americans. I find that British people sort of go, they just sort of almost skip the vowels. Yorkshire pudding. You know what I mean? Yorkshire pudding. Very, almost eliminating the vowels. It's nice. It's nice. You got it, bud. Of course. And yeah, I'm getting ready for work. I'm going to work and all that stuff, Keelan. But if you jump in there and you've got any questions, I'm not sure which software you're using, so who knows how much help I'll be. But don't hesitate to reach out for whatever. Okay, guys, what do you say we get into the book? I'm going to have a sip of water and then probably another one before we get going. Let me see here. I will turn down the music a little bit as well. There we go. That is nice. That is nice. So, guys, we are officially past the halfway mark. We're at page 139 and the book is 270 pages. So, right, we're just 4 pages past that halfway mark. We are at chapter 13 and there's 27 chapters. So they've been very economical with their chapters, about 10 pages a chapter, which is pretty easy reading, I would say. But we've gotten some, if you've missed some of the other streams for the Terrifier 3 novelization by Tim Waggoner, check them out. One of them is going to be members only, but I need to get through the book, so I'm not going to hold everything back. A couple of these are going to be members only, so if you are not a member, you're going to be like, where are these chapters? There's going to be a handful of these that you may not be able to see unless you become a member. Here's the good news, though. Membership is available for as low as 99 cents a month. So you could sign up for 1 month. You don't have to sign up again. I don't take that kind of stuff personally. And you can just watch the content that you want to watch. And then you can bail if you want to, or you can stick around. Whatever you want. Nothing is required other than liking the stream. If you don't like the stream, I will take that personally because it's so easy. Isn't it so easy to hit the like button? I don't know. To me, I think it's easy. I'm going to have another sip of water and we'll get going. And last we left, we had caught up with Jonathan, who's dealing with being a little bit of a celebrity at school and doesn't believe in all of the supernatural aspects that Sienna believes in when it comes to Art the Clown. Now, Sienna is having some hallucinations. She's looking forward to seeing her brother. She's bonding with her aunt, uncle, and cousin. Meanwhile, Art and Victoria paid a visit to Sienna's former doctor, rooted around in her brain, ate on her a little bit, And Art has been putting together some tools to take out with him. And it sounds like Victoria has been whipping up some sort of costume for Art. I wonder what kind of costume that will be. Let's see. Okay, guys, so here we are. Terrifier 3, the novelization, Chapter 13. Charlie, who at the moment was the spitting image of one Mr. Chris Kringle. I'm going to start that over because I find a way to do this. The beginning of every chapter, I just like fall on my face. So here we go again. Chapter 13. Charlie, who at the moment was the spitting image of one Mr. Chris Kringle, suit and all, sat at the bar in Steibart's. It was a local hole-in-the-wall joint. Nice enough, but there were a lot of bigger and better bars in Miles County, which is why, at the moment, there were only 4 people in the place besides Charlie. Eddie, who was pouring drinks tonight, Smokey, who sat on a stool next to Charlie, and a couple of hot young girls sitting at a table nearby. Not a lot of people for the holidays, he supposed, but he liked coming here because it got so few customers. You could drink in peace here and have a decent conversation without having to yell in order to be heard. The girls, one blonde, one raven-haired, both wearing winter jackets and extremely tight jeans, kept glancing over at the bar and speaking in low voices, their words punctuated with an occasional giggle. If I were 20 years younger, Charlie thought, hell, even 10 years. Steibart's was a homey, welcoming place with a low, cozy lighting, brick walls, wood floors, and an old-fashioned jukebox that actually worked. The bar was currently decorated for the holidays, with strings of lights hanging from the ceiling, a Christmas tree with ornaments, tinsel, and garland, cases of beer with red and green bows underneath, and a vintage vacuform Santa mask on the wall, wearing a pair of novelty sunglasses with frames shaped like Christmas trees. The one decoration Charlie didn't like was the large plastic snowman in a corner, illuminated by a bulb inside. Charlie thought the damn thing had a creepy face, a real uncanny valley kind of thing. And every year he wondered what genius had thought it a good design choice to put a light bulb in a fucking snowman. Wouldn't an inside light melt a real snowman? Where was the logic in that? This guy, Smokey nodded at Charlie. All he does is complain. But don't let him fool you. This time of year, he's got it made. Charlie shook his head and took a sip of beer. Okay, he said. Let's hear this. Smokey's voice was rough and gravelly thanks to a 3-pack-a-day habit he'd had for 40 years, ever since he'd been a teenager. He'd quit cold turkey almost a decade ago, but his voice had never recovered. He was bald on top with a long, scraggly, snow-white hair hanging in his down in the back. His white beard was badly in need of trimming, and the orange shirt beneath his blue-plaid winter jacket was half untucked. But considering Smokey liked to start drinking not long after sunrise and didn't stop until he passed out for the night, Charlie figured he'd been lucky to get the shirt on at all. I tell you, he's got the single mothers throwing themselves at him in the department store, and then at night. Smokey glanced at the 2 women sitting nearby and lowered his voice. He hits the titty bar and gets all the young girls with daddy issues, all because of that fat watch it, Charlie warned. Jolly red outfit, Smokey finished. I got to agree with Smokey on this one, Eddie said. That whole Santa persona certainly has its perks. Eddie was a slender man in his 40s, brown hair pulled back in a ponytail, neatly trimmed mustache, and salt and pepper goatee, wearing a brown flannel shirt over an old Steibart's bar t-shirt. Years ago, Charlie had invested in a high-quality suit, nothing like the cheap shit that most Santas wore this time of year. Best money he'd ever spent. Clothes made the man, after all. And as if to prove his point, the 2 girls rose from their seats and came over to the bar. One took up a position on his right, the other on his left. Hey there, Santa baby, one said, slightly slurring her words. I've been a naughty girl this year. Really naughty. I've been naughtier, said the second girl. Can we sit on your lap and tell you what we really want? Really need? For Christmas, they said in unison. Without waiting for permission, they sat on Charlie's knees and draped arms over his shoulders. They weren't balanced very well, and Charlie automatically slipped his arms around their small, tight waists. Eddie looked baffled, but amused, while Smokey gaped, envy burning in his eyes. It's hell being Santa, Charlie thought with a grin. The blonde handed her camera to Eddie. Take a picture, she said. All right. Eddie complied, snapping photos while the girls posed. Can we join the Mile High Club? The blonde asked. I'd fuck ya, Smokey said to the blonde, but she ignored him. Charlie gave an uncomfortable Santa laugh. No, Mrs. Claus would shank me in my sleep. My wife's dead, Smokey said. Can you come down my chimney? The blonde asked. Oh, God, make her chimney come, the raven-haired girl said. I've got a chimney, Smokey said. Eddie handed the blonde's phone back to her, and the girl slid off Charlie's lap. I love those naughty little reindeer, the raven-haired girl said. Okay, girls, okay, Charlie said. The blonde booped Charlie's nose several times with her index finger before staggering off with her friend. The three men watched them go, and Charlie shook his head. Oh, shit. God damn, Eddie said. I think I know what I want for Christmas. Charlie was equal parts relieved and disappointed when the girls headed back to their table, grabbed their small purses, and started towards the door. A loud banging on the window diverted everyone's attention. They turned to see a guy in, of all fucking things, a clown outfit jumping up and down outside and clapping his hands in childish delight. The dude had gone all out too, full makeup, prosthetics on his cheeks, nose, and chin. Didn't he know what goddamn holiday was coming up? He looked more like he was ready for Halloween instead of Christmas. Get a load of this fucking guy, Smokey said. The girls had reached the door by this time, and as the clown hurried inside with his gaze fixed on Charlie, he shoved between them, nearly knocking them off their feet. They squealed in protest and hurled a few choice words at him, but he paid them no attention. Didn't even seem to notice they existed. The girls left, muttering to themselves and shooting the clown venomous looks. For some reason, the clown was carrying a plastic garbage bag filled with stuff. He had been doing Christmas shopping, which he put down on the floor. Then he came over to the bar, practically quivering with excitement. Friend of yours, Eddie? Charlie asked. Eddie shook his head. The clown came up to Charlie, eyes filled with childish wonderment. He pointed to a cardboard decoration on the wall depicting Santa in his sleigh, reindeer pulling him through the night sky. Then he pointed to Charlie as if to say, You're him. You're Santa. Smokey grinned. Looks like someone has a fan. Charlie had put in a long day of listening to whiny brats beg for Santa to bring them expensive presents they didn't need, and he was in no mood for whatever foolishness this freak show was up to. Charlie gave the clown a brief smile. Yeah, that's me, fella. The man, the myth. The clown's face lit up, and he threw his arms around Charlie and gave him a hug. Charlie was used to people sometimes treating him as if he were Santa Claus. It was irritating, unless they were female, young and pretty, but he understood it was part of the gig. But this guy, he smelled weird, as if his costume had been in storage for a long time, and he'd only recently taken it out and put it on. And his breath, Christ almighty, that stink would stop a charging rhino in its tracks, probably due to those damn teeth of his. The guy was a few decades overdue to see the dentist. And despite being a skinny dude, he was strong. Charlie could barely breathe, and he swore he could feel his ribs grinding together. Charlie shoved the clown off him. All right, Merry Christmas. The clown stepped back but continued gazing adoringly at Charlie. What's with the costume, pal? Eddie asked. Yeah, Smokey chimed in. Is the circus in town or something? Charlie figured the guy was a seasonal performer like him, probably played the villain in some kid's show, the sort of character that wants to ruin Christmas with some dastardly scheme. With his white makeup and that nose and chin, he even looked a little like a villain from an old kid's Christmas program. Cold Miser. That was the character's name. And that was probably why he had fake bloodstains on his costume and gloves. He had to look the part of a scary bad guy. Charlie admired the man's attention to detail. It was the sign of a real pro. The clown fixed his gaze on Charlie's beard, eyes narrowing as he studied it. Then he reached out and gave it a tug, a little too hard, but not too bad. This was something else Charlie had to put up with every holiday season, people testing his beard to see if it was fake. It's the real deal, Clowny. Took years to grow this baby. He smoothed his beard with his fingers and smiled proudly. All about authenticity. Eddie pointed to the garbage bag the clown had left by the door. Hey, what's in the bag, fella? The clown hurried over to the bag, rummaged around in it for a few seconds, then pulled out a bicycle horn. He held it up, the rubber bulb between his thumb and forefinger, grinned, and squeezed it several times in rapid succession. Honk, 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 honk. Charlie chuckled and turned to Eddie and Smokey. You know, I'm actually starting to like this guy. Come on, Clowny, why don't you have a seat next to Santa? He patted the empty stool next to him, but the clown grabbed his bag and rushed over to the bar. He placed his bag on the counter with a thump, and several metallic objects shifted inside. What the hell was this guy carrying around in there? Charlie wondered. The clown then jumped into Charlie's lap as if he were a little kid. Weird, but it fits this guy's shtick, so he decided to go along with it. It didn't hurt that he'd already had a couple of beers before the clown showed up. Hey, okay. Not exactly what I had in mind. Tell Santa what you want for Christmas, little boy. Tell Santa what you want for Christmas, little boy, Smokey said. Eddie wrinkled his nose and waved his hand in front of his face. Better hygiene. The three of them laughed, but the clown appeared not to notice. He looked thoughtful and then his eyes lit up. He grinned and pointed at Charlie's suit. Charlie frowned. What? You want Santa's costume? The clown nodded vigorously. Can't help you there, pal, Charlie said. This is the only one I got. What do you say we hook my friend Clowny here up with a shot, Eddie? Come on, let's all do a shot. Eddie eyed the clown, clearly uncomfortable. Sure, as long as he shows me some ID. Don't bust his balls, Charlie said, irritated. He's obviously old enough. You think I'm going to risk my license for this guy? Look at him. Clowny looked at a loss for a moment, but then his face brightened and he held up a finger in a just a minute gesture. He hopped off Charlie's lap, rummaged around in his bag for a moment, then pulled out a wallet and tossed it onto the counter. Eddie looked skeptical, but he picked it up and opened it to examine the driver's license. He scowled, then turned the wallet around for Charlie and Smokey to see. The photo on the license was that of a middle-aged black man, and his name was Maurice Jackson. The three men looked at Clowny. He batted his eyes, his face the picture of innocence. Eddie shrugged and dropped the wallet onto the counter. Fuck it, it's Christmas. Eddie set 4 shot glasses on the bar and began filling them with bourbon. Charlie knew Eddie normally didn't drink when he was working, but he supposed the man was feeling particularly festive tonight. Although honestly, he looked worried. He'd glanced at the clown repeatedly ever since the guy had entered the bar, and although he hadn't said anything, Charlie got the impression Eddie didn't care for him, was maybe a little afraid of him. Like most bartenders who'd been in the profession a while, Eddie was an excellent judge of character. And if he thought there was something sketchy with the clown, maybe. The clown snatched the Santa hat off Charlie's head and put it on his own. Okay, Charlie said. Clowny's getting very comfortable. He paused, then added, looks good. Smokey laughed. Watch out, Santa. You might have some competition. I don't think Clowny's a threat. Charlie looked at the clown. Just make sure I get that back. You don't want to end up on Santa's naughty list. Eddie handed shots to each of them, including the clown, and kept one for himself. Charlie raised his glass, and the other men, clown included, followed suit. Cheers to my new friend, Maurice Jackson, he said. To Maurice Jackson, Eddie and Smokey echoed. All 4 downed their bourbon in a single gulp. The clown's eyes went wide, and he immediately spat his liquor out, right in Charlie's face. Shit! The alcohol stung his eyes, and he wiped at them with his fingers. Eddie handed him some drink napkins, then glared at the clown. Son of a bitch, he muttered. Smokey was laughing so hard it sounded like he might vomit a lung. Charlie dabbed his eyes with the napkins. What the fuck are you laughing at, asshole? He snarled. Smokey shut up. Charlie might seem like a right jolly old elf in his Santa suit, but he worked in a warehouse for his day job, had for almost 40 years, and was a lot stronger than he looked. Charlie scowled at his new friend. That was very rude, Clowny. The clown made a pouty face and lowered his gaze like a child reprimanded by a beloved adult. Eddie handed Charlie a clean hand towel. Charlie nodded his thanks and began wiping his face with it. Eddie leaned across the bar to get his face closer to the clown's. Hey, what's your problem, guy? He said. The man buys you a drink and you spit it back in his face? Yeah, that was pretty messed up, Smokey said, as if only just realizing this. You're done, Eddie said sternly. Give him his hat back, take your shit, and beat it. Charlie yanked the Santa hat off the clown's head and placed it on his own. You can get off me now, he said. The clown looked at him with a blank expression, but he didn't move. Charlie had officially lost his fucking patience with this guy. If you don't get off me right now, you're going to be sorry, he warned. You hear me? The clown still didn't respond, but a second later, Charlie felt something warm and wet spread across his lap and run down his leg. Had this lunatic actually pissed on him? Oh shit, Smokey said. Eddie gave the clown a venomous look. Motherfucker, son of a bitch. Charlie hopped off his stool, dislodging the clown, but before the guy could fall to the floor, though, Charlie grabbed the front of his outfit with both hands and flung the asshole across the bar. The clown hit the wooden floor hard, but the impact didn't seem to bother him. He sat up, a dark stain on the crotch of his black and white clown suit. Are you out of your fucking mind? Charlie demanded. The clown pointed at the dark area on Charlie's lap and mimed laughing. Charlie's anger turned to white-hot fury then. I'll fucking kill you, he shouted. He ran toward the clown, who'd just risen to his feet and grabbed the front of his outfit again. Instead of throwing the clown, this time he shoved the guy against the wall, wrapped his hands around his throat, and began choking him. Part of him knew he'd taken this too far, but the rest of him didn't give a shit. This chalk-faced bastard deserved whatever he got. You do not piss on Santa. The clown didn't try to fight back. His discolored tongue lolled from the side of his black-rimmed mouth, and his eyes rolled back in his head. Charlie had the sense that the guy wasn't really hurting, he was just toying with him, and that made him squeeze even harder. The clown's eyes bulged then, as if they might pop out of their sockets any second. Charlie realized that when the clown's neck felt weird, like it was wrapped in duct tape? Who the hell did that? Eddie and Smokey rushed over and pulled Charlie off the clown. The guy slumped back against the wall, breathing heavily, or at least pretending to, one hand on his throat as if checking to see what damage Charlie had done. Acting in wordless agreement, the three men grabbed hold of the clown, carried him to the door, then tossed his ass onto the sidewalk. He sprang to his feet the instant he landed, grabbed a couple of handfuls of dirty snow from the gutter, then hurled them at the window. Thump, thump. Then he stuck out his tongue and flipped them off with both hands. Eddie was over it. He went behind the bar, retrieved the Louisville Slugger he kept for the uncooperative customers, then headed back to the door. He grabbed the clown's garbage sack, letting out a soft oof as if it were heavy, then stepped outside to confront the clown. Charlie and Eddie went to the window to watch. Eddie tossed the bag on the ground near the clown's feet and raised the bat in a threatening gesture. Okay, you got two choices, asshole, Eddie said. Either get your ass out of here right now, or I'm going to tenderize your skull with this fucking bat. Don't test me, fella. For an instant, the clown's eyes grew murderously cold. Then he picked up his garbage bag, hung his head, turned, and shuffled down the sidewalk away from Eddie, looking thoroughly dejected. Eddie watched him go for several moments to make sure he wasn't coming back, then stepped inside. He really peed on you, Charlie? Smokey said. Charlie pointed at his wet crotch. What the hell does this look like? You want to smell it? Smokey made a face. No. Eddie joined them. What do you want to do? You want to call the cops? Charlie was sorely tempted, but it wasn't like the guy actually had assaulted him or anything, and the media would go batshit if they got a hold of this story. He could imagine the headline now. Merry Pissmas. That kind of publicity he didn't need. He's gone already. You got another towel or something, Eddie? I'm gonna wind up getting fucking hepatitis or some shit. The three headed back to the bar. Eddie found another clean towel and handed it to Charlie. He took it and started toward the men's room. Behind him, he heard Smokey say, I said it. I knew that guy wasn't right. Eddie sighed. Let me grab a mop. Art stood on the slushy sidewalk outside of the bar, hands on his hips, scowling. Was that any way to treat a fan? He should march right back in there and, hey, freak show! He turned to see the two girls from the bar, the ones he'd almost knocked down in his excitement to see the Santa Man, standing halfway down the block. They glared, raised their hands, and extended their middle fingers to give him a quadruple bird. He smiled. He had a score to settle with the men in the bar, but he supposed he could spare a few minutes for a quick side quest. He started walking toward the girls. Their bravado vanished then. They squealed, turned, and ran, straight into a nearby alley. Bad move. Art snickered silently as he continued after them. Oh, so that's the end of chapter 13. I'm going to check in with you guys and see what we got going. Looks like it's very chill here. I kind of like that. Adrian James is kicking it with us. How are you doing, Adrian? Sweet. Keelan's getting some subs over there. I love it. Love to see it. Where's Keelan at on the sub count? Where does he got? Ooh, 226. So there's been a couple added since we started our stream. I like seeing that addition happening. That's great. 224 to 226. All right. Let's get this guy going. Let's get him cooking. Very first live tonight, guys. Looks like it's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern, all through the house with Lito Velasco. Oh, yeah. Cool. Well, hopefully you guys are enjoying what we're doing here. And I am going to go ahead and keep this rolling. I'm going to read one more chapter, and then I do have to scoot out pretty quickly because I have to get ready for work and head on out. So yeah, there you go. Ooh, Ty Lee, I'm listening to this while planning my next short. Hell yeah, Ty. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you joining us. I'm really excited too. I think it'll be a fun one, especially with how much love Lito got the other night. And he's been kind of popping up in a few different places on YouTube lately. So I hope it's very well attended and very lively in the chat there for Keelan. So yeah, let's make it a party over there on Kill the Credits. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and get right back into it, guys, just so I can keep things flowing here. Thank you so much for everyone's support, hanging out with us. All the channel members that are kicking it with us. We got Steph, Keelan, and Gina, and I saw Kyle jump in as well. So we've got some great membership support here. And a couple $5 super chats, which is really cool too. So how about it? Okay, guys, here we go. Chapter 14. When Jess entered their bedroom, she found Greg sitting cross-legged on the bed, laptop open in front of him. She'd been trying to get him to stop working at home, or at least limit it to 1 hour a night. Or if he couldn't do either of those things, to at least confine his work to his office downstairs. But he carried his damn laptop around wherever he went in the house, and whenever he had an extra minute or two, he'd be back at it. She'd thought about hiding his computer, but she was pretty sure he could do work on his phone as well. She suspected that that was why he took so long in the bathroom, sometimes close to an hour. That's too long. She shouldn't be sitting on the toilet that long. She loved Greg, and when they'd first started dating, his intensity and drive had been part of what attracted her to him. She was proud of everything he'd accomplished since those days, but she wished she could get him to understand that if he didn't learn to slow down some, he'd look around one day, realize Gabby was an adult who'd gone out into the world on her own, and wonder where all the time went. Greg looked up as she entered and closed his laptop. So, how is she? Jess had come upstairs after tidying up in the kitchen a bit following her talk with Sienna. She was still dressed, and so was Greg, although he'd taken his shoes and socks off. That sounded good, so she sat on the side of the bed and slipped off her shoes. Then she slid over to sit next to Greg. As good as can be expected. My heart breaks for her. I think Gabby brought some life into her today, Greg said. It was nice seeing her smile. Oh my God, Gabby. Jess smiled and shook her head. She follows Sienna around like a brand new puppy. Now they're going Christmas shopping tomorrow after Gabby gets home from school. Greg frowned. Just the two of them? Mm-hmm. Sienna wants to pick up a gift for Jonathan. His frown deepened. How are they getting there? I told Sienna she could use my SUV. Why? He sighed. You really think that's a good idea? Of the two of them, Greg had always been the overprotective parent, the one who worried about the nutritional value of every little thing his child ate, and who was concerned with ensuring her safety that bordered on obsession at times. Then again, he'd been the one who'd remained with Sienna the last time they'd visited her in the hospital, and he'd witnessed her attack on the employee whom she thought for a moment was Art the Clown. She knew that seeing his niece like that had shaken his trust in her, maybe permanently. They'll be fine, Greg. You saw what happened this afternoon. Jess thought back to when the four of them had sat around the dining table eating Chinese food. Everything had been going fine, and then Sienna had suddenly stared at one of the empty seats as if it were occupied by somebody or something the rest of them couldn't see. The color had drained from Sienna's face, and she'd abruptly left the table and run upstairs, probably to take some medicine. Greg went on. Come on, Jess. For all we know, that little episode was just a microcosm. What happens if it gets worse? She refused to give in to her husband's paranoia. She's been through hell, Greg. The loss of her parents, her friends. For God's sake, she was almost murdered. Jonathan, too. That's my point. I mean, do we really know how much damage something like that can actually cause? Who knows what she's liable to do? Despite herself, Jess found herself thinking of how Sienna and Jonathan's father had committed suicide. He'd been experiencing hallucinations at the time, and his personality had changed. Sometimes he was his normal, soft-spoken, kind self. At other times, he was cruel, sharp-tongued, and in a few instances, even physically abusive. It was like something took control of him during those episodes. Something bad. Physically, he'd been diagnosed with a brain tumor, but it somehow had felt more than that to Jess. One night, Michael had downed a bottle of Jack Daniels, gotten into his car, and driven at high speed into an electrical transformer. The coroner hadn't been able to determine if he had died in the crash or had lived long enough to burn to death when the car caught fire. Either way, it was a horrible death. And brain tumor or not, Jess could never forgive Michael for what he'd done to Barbara, Sienna, and Jonathan. She could see why Greg would be afraid Sienna might do something similar with Gabby in the car, or maybe just have a hallucination that caused her to lose control of the vehicle and get into a wreck. But Sienna had undergone numerous medical tests over the years, and there'd never been any indication that she had a tumor like Michael's. Her problems were all trauma-based. I'm not going to abandon her, Jess said. She's healing. It's going to take time. Besides, the doctors wouldn't let her stay with us if they felt she was a danger to herself or anyone else. She's taking her medication. Greg took her hand and gave it a gentle squeeze. I love her and I sympathize with her. Believe me. We just can't let our guard down. That's all I'm saying. Jess smiled and nodded. Greg put an arm around her and she lay her head on his shoulder. He kissed the top of her head and she wrapped her arms around his middle. She hoped she was doing the right thing for all their sakes. Sienna was in her new room, sitting on the bed in a cozy t-shirt and shorts, writing a new entry in her diary. She read aloud in a quiet voice as she wrote, Thursday, December 21st. First day back at Aunt Jessica's in years. Brooke was here to greet me. She really didn't want to relive that experience, would have loved nothing more than to pretend it had never happened, but Dr. Cattry would say that wasn't healthy. She was about to describe the incident in detail when she noticed the corner of an envelope poking out from the back of her diary. Frowning, she pulled it out and examined it. It was addressed to her at Happy Valley. She recognized Jonathan's handwriting immediately, and his name and Aunt Jess's home were listed as the sender and return address. The envelope had been opened, and she removed the folded pages inside. She unfolded them and saw it was a handwritten letter from Jonathan. She read the first few lines, but they were unfamiliar to her. But that didn't make sense. The letter was undated, but the postmark on the envelope showed it had been sent almost 3 years ago. She must have read it, but if so, she'd forgotten it. Or maybe she'd wanted to forget it. She started reading it now, and she soon realized that Jonathan had written it to explain a theory he had about Art's connection to the pale little girl. Little pale girl, excuse me. She read through the letter once, and as soon as she finished, she read it again. Then she folded it, returned it to the envelope, and tucked it into the back of her journal. Then she sat and thought about what Jonathan had said. If he was right, it explained a great deal. And it was terrifying. Charlie stood at a sink in the men's room, scrubbing his Santa pants with soap and water. He'd removed his boots so he could get the pants off, and now he stood in his briefs and socks, trying to clean the clown's piss off the costume he'd paid so much for once upon a time. What a fucking world. When he'd figured he'd gotten his pants as clean as he could, he held them up to the hand dryer for several minutes. Even after that, they were still damp, but they were good enough, and he put them back on, slipped on his boots, and left the bathroom. All right, needless to say, let's keep this incident between us. I don't need the whole town talking about some random stranger just pissed in my lap. He returned to the bar and got back on his stool. Santa's got a reputation to uphold, he finished. Smokey sat with his head down at the bar. Had the bastard drunk himself into a stupor this early? And where was Eddie? Had he gone into the back room to get something? At least he'd left a full shot glass on the bar for him. You hear me, assholes? I'm serious. What is this, nap time? He downed the shot and slammed the empty glass onto the surface of the bar. As the whiskey's warmth spread through him, he started to relax. Maybe he should call an Uber for Smokey. It looked like the man needed to get home so he could sleep it off. A driver wouldn't take him if he couldn't stay at least semi-conscious for the ride. Charlie turned to Smokey, reached out to shake him by the shoulder to see if he could rouse him, but he froze in mid-motion. He hadn't really looked at Smokey as he came back to the bar, was so used to him being drunk as a skunk that he'd barely glanced at him. But when he got a good look now, and what he saw turned his blood to ice water. Eddie's head had been caved in. I think they mean Smokey, another misprint. Smokey's head had been caved in. Blood, brains, and pieces of shattered skull lay on the bar counter around his head, and some had fallen to the floor. Jesus Christ! Smokey! Charlie jumped off his stool and took a couple steps back. He didn't know how this could have happened, and it looked like there was no way Smokey could survive. But if there was any chance he was still alive, they needed to try to help him. Eddie! He called out. No reply. Where the hell was he? Charlie started to run for the back room to see if Eddie was there, but he'd only gone a few feet when he reached the illuminated plastic snowman and came to an abrupt halt. The snowman's head had been removed and replaced with Eddie's. The plastic carrot that had been on the snowman's face had been jammed into Eddie's nose, and blood trailed from the wound over his lips and chin. His eyes were gone, in their place a pair of what looked like red-hot burning coals, the flesh around them sizzling as it cooked. A small mound of snow sat on top of his head like a festive, wintry hat. Charlie screamed, turned, and ran for the door, but when he got there, he found it locked. As he frantically wrestled with the knob, he didn't see the clown walk up silently behind him, raise the bloodied Louisville slugger, and, grinning viciously, swing it toward the back of his head. Charlie opened his eyes. His vision was blurry and his head pounded like a motherfucker. The last thing he'd remembered, he'd been trying to get outside and then nothing. He was sitting on something. A chair? But when he tried to stand, he couldn't. He'd been bound to the chair with rope. He felt chilly and he realized he'd been stripped down to his t-shirt and briefs. He saw a large smear of red in front of him, and as he continued looking at it, his vision cleared and the smear revealed itself to be the clown, now decked out in Charlie's Santa outfit. He remembered Clowny pointing to his Santa suit when he jokingly asked the freak what he wanted for Christmas. Can't help you there, pal. This is the only one I got. It looked like Clowny had decided to help himself. The son of a bitch was holding the plastic snowman's head, the one he'd replaced with Eddie's, and he put it on the bar counter. Smokey still sat slumped over, his head looking like a pulped watermelon. The blood-covered baseball bat rested on the bar between the snowman's head and Smokey and Charlie. The blood-covered baseball bat rested on the bar between the snowman's head and Smokey, and Charlie realized that the crazy bastard had whacked him with the thing and knocked him out. No wonder his head felt like it was going to split in two any second. Clowny grinned, but there was no humor in it. His eyes gleamed with a cold hatred so intense that it was like he was a completely different creature from the man Charlie had encountered before. Or maybe he'd simply decided to stop hiding his true self. Please, mister, what did I do? Whatever I did to you, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. You can take the costume. It's yours. It looks great on you. Take the money in the register. I didn't see it. I didn't see a goddamn thing. Come on. Some guy in a friggin' clown costume? Who's gonna believe me? I couldn't identify you anyway. Please, just let me go. The clown gave no sign that he'd heard him. He continued staring at Charlie for a moment, eyes flat and dead like a shark's. His trash bag lay on the floor near his feet, and he bent down, reached in, felt around, and pulled out something that looked like a fire extinguisher, except it had a metal box attached to it, along with a length of rope to serve as a shoulder strap. Oh, come on, man. What the hell is that? A cruel grin split the clown's face as he slipped the rope over his head and shoulder. He then slowly pointed the device's nozzle at Charlie's bare feet. Wait, Charlie shouted. I have a real name. Clowny looked doubtful, but he lowered the nozzle. It's Charles Johnson, and I have a wife and 2 kids. Clowny's eyes rolled as if he was saying, who gives a shit? And he raised the nozzle once more. No, Clowny, I beg you. I have 4 gorgeous grandchildren. Their names are Brad and Denise and the clown squeezed the device's operating lever, and a jet of white gas shot out of the nozzle. Charlie screamed as the gas enveloped his feet and shins. He hated being cold. Winters in Miles County could be harsh, which was one of the reasons he invested in such a well-made Santa suit. He'd saved most of the money he'd made over the years from his Santa gigs, intending to use it to finance a move somewhere warmer when he retired from his warehouse job in a few years. He'd known that he knew cold, or he thought he knew cold, but he'd never experienced anything like this before. Everything in his feet and shins, bone, flesh, and blood had frozen solid, the skin coated in a thick layer of frost and ice. The clown slipped off the device and placed it on the bar counter. He then picked up the blood-slick slugger, took a firm two-handed grip on the bat, stepped forward, and swung it down onto Charlie's frozen right foot. It exploded into bloody shards of ice meat, and before Charlie had a chance to scream, the clown swung it again and obliterated his right shin. Charlie managed to scream this time, the sound so loud that it seemed to shake the whole bar. The clown started to work on his left foot and shin, smashing them to pieces with a pair of swift hits. Charlie was still dealing with the pain from the first two strikes when new agony assaulted him, the combined pain so intense it nearly overloaded his nervous system. This time, his scream was twice as loud as before. The clown howled in silent laughter as he gazed upon his handiwork. He placed the bat on the bar counter once more, and then shouldered the frost weapon once more. Charlie watched through tears of agony as the clown aimed the nozzle at his face. Then, as if thinking better of it, he pointed it at Charlie's crotch. The fucker's teasing me, he thought. But the clown decided not to freeze Charlie's dick. Instead, he pointed the nozzle at Charlie's right hand. No, please. Clowny bared his disgusting teeth, waggled his eyebrows, then nodded as if to say, oh yes. He squeezed the operating lever. Then he immediately trained the gun on Charlie's left hand and fired again. Just as his feet had, both hands froze solid. Having two appendages frozen together hurt far worse than one at a time, and Charlie's eyes rolled back in his head as he wavered on the verge of unconsciousness. Unfortunately, the comfort of oblivion was denied him, and he remained fully aware as the clown put the frost weapon up on the bar, picked up the bat once more, and used it to destroy his hands. Thwack! Thwack! Frozen fingers fell to the floor like flesh-colored popsicles and broke apart. The pain was the worst yet, but when he opened his mouth to scream, nothing came out, as if this agony was too intense to give voice to. There was one bright side, though. Because his wounds were frozen, he wasn't bleeding from the stumps of his feet or hands, so he was in no immediate danger of dying from blood loss. The clown put the bat on the counter, then walked around behind the bar. He opened the register, removed a handful of change, and walked over to the jukebox. He perused the selections for a moment, and then his eyes widened. He slid coins into the slot, pressed a couple of buttons, and Frosty the Snowman began playing. He mimed whistling along with the tune as he returned to Charlie and took hold of his gun one last time. This time, Charlie didn't protest or plead, only watched the clown shoulder the frost weapon one more, aim the nozzle directly at his face, grin demonically, and squeeze the operating lever. Charlie felt his features grow hard as stone, saw his vision go hazy as twin layers of ice covered his eyes. He fully expected to die, but he didn't. Not quite. His frost-encrusted lips quivered as if he wanted to speak some final words, but what the hell was there to say? A random thought emerged from somewhere deep in his memory, a jokey gravestone epitaph that he'd once read about in a Western paperback novel. I was here, but now I'm gone. I left my name to carry on. Those who knew me well. Those who don't can go to hell. He was ready for death. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite ready for him. Art examined his handiwork with a critical eye. The Santa Man still lived. His ice-coated eyes shifted back and forth, and his frostbitten lips moved as if trying to speak, but Art knew he wouldn't last much longer. He had to work fast. He lowered the frostbiter to the floor, then reached out, took hold of the Santa Man's beard, and pulled. The skin resisted for a moment, but then it came free with a thick, wet sucking sound. The Santa Man couldn't talk now, but a moan of pain came from deep in his throat. Art held out the beard for the Santa Man to see before folding it neatly and tucking it into his belt. He then rooted around his garbage bag until he found what he was looking for: 2 more pieces of coal and a blowtorch. He stood, lit the blowtorch, and held the coals to the flame, one at a time, to heat them. When they were ready, he put the torch on the bar counter and walked over to Santa Man, juggling the hot coals. He then jammed them into the man's eyes. He screamed as his eyeballs melted with viscous white fluid ran down. I'm going to say that one again. He screamed as his eyeballs melted and viscous white fluid ran down his cheeks like milky tears. When the coals were solidly embedded, Art let go of them and waved his hands in the air to cool off his fingers. He then picked up the bat, turned it around, and used the handle to knock off Santa Man's nose and lower jaw. Looking good, but it needed something more. He put the bat on the counter, walked over to the plastic snowman with Eddie's head, and yanked the carrot nose free. He returned to Charlie, jammed the carrot into the open cavity where the man's nose had once been, and then stepped back to examine the holiday tableau he'd created. He cocked his head from left to right. Finally, he nodded happily and made a chef's kiss gesture. It was attention to detail that separated professionals from amateurs. Sure, it took a little bit longer, but it was important to take pride in one's work. Only one final touch to add. Art lowered his pants and unleashed a stream of foul-smelling urine onto Santa Man. A nearly inaudible groan escaped the man's mouth, and then he finally died. Art finished up, gave himself a couple of shakes, and pulled up his pants once more. God, he loved his work. And there we go. That is chapter 14. So guys, we are on page 159 when we next resume, and we'll be hitting up chapter 15. We are more than halfway there. Thank you guys for spending some time with me. Let's see, who else do we got? Antonis Andriotis dropping on in, one of our great channel members. How you doing, Antonis? And we've got Allie Girl jumping in as well. Happy Friday right back to you, Allie. I am just about to get ready for work. So what do we got? 2:30 on the dot. That's what I figured. I'd be going till right about this time. So yeah, guys, I just want to let you know. Oh, thank you so much, Allie. I appreciate you. It seems like it's getting, I know I'm still making mistakes and stuff, which is just going to happen. But I'm feeling like a little more comfortable. I really like the spots where there's more dialogue, because for me, it's a lot more fun to like do a voice for a character, or I'm not an actor or anything like that, but I consider myself a performer. So it's fun to like kind of step into sort of like an acting kind of role. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to act. We'll see if that opportunity ever comes. But yeah, thank you so much, Allie. I appreciate you. And yeah, we've got 12 more, 13 more chapters, right? Because of counting chapter 15. So we're well on our way, guys. We're going to be able to finish this before Christmas. I think that's really cool. And yeah, like I said, some of these are going to be for members only. So there's already one of these live streams that's members only. Just for 99 cents, you can become a member. You can check out those streams, whatever you miss. And then, yeah, you don't have to keep the membership going. It's, when I see that somebody's fallen off membership or whatever, I don't take that stuff personally. Like, I just figure we've all got, reasons why we can or can't do that stuff. So to me, it's awesome just having you guys here, and all that other stuff is just icing on the cake, bonus, fun stuff. If you're able to, and you want to support the channel in that way, then that's really awesome. And, I appreciate whatever kind of support I can get here. Honestly, I love doing what I do, and I would do it anyways, so it's, not solely about the money, but it is fun to have a little bit of a side hustle going, yeah, this has been interesting because we've already seen some stuff, that didn't make the movie. Doesn't Art pull out a gun in the bar? Does he shoot the bartender? I can't remember if he uses the gun in the bar. I know he uses the gun, I think, in the first film. I don't know if he uses a gun in the second, or, a handgun in the second film. I think in the Clown Cafe, he uses like a Tommy gun or something. Chicago typewriter, as they sometimes call it. Hey, no worries at all, Allie. It really, I only bring it up just as a friendly reminder. But yeah, all the support that you give, myself and plenty of other YouTubers out there, that's what matters most. Like, seeing that I made your top 5 of YouTube channels that you watched this year is so flattering and so humbling and awesome. I'm genuinely surprised when I see that I've made anyone's top 5, and it's happened a handful of times. So I think it's pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, he shoots the bartender and Clint Howard. Okay, so he only Yeah, because for whatever reason, Tim wanted to change that, and I think it works for what we've got in the book. Like, I kind of like it. But yeah, I could have sworn, I was like, well, maybe he doesn't use the gun on them, but I knew he flashed it. But yeah, like, because I've only seen the movie once, Keelan, so I'm still waiting to watch it again with everyone in the Discord. But I was like, I swear he at least shoots the bartender. But yeah, and then who knows? Maybe sometimes the way they tell the narrative here in the book, because he said he was going to go after those girls in the alley, so we might get a bit of a chapter here where we, learn what Art did to the two drunk girls from the bar in the alley. So there's been a handful of things that didn't make the movie. I think we're getting a lot more insight into Sienna's father, right? Because I think we knew that he crashed his car and died from the transformer, right? I think we knew that, but the detail that the book goes into about there was a certain amount of darkness about him that seemed to have nothing to do with the brain tumor. That those kinds of little tidbits I think are really nice bits of lore. And I'd imagine that Tim and Damien sat down and agreed upon what the extras would be and what the differences would be from the movie, right? Because Damien is, this is his baby. So he's got, he maintains a fair amount of control, or I mean, literally, seemingly all of the control, which is a good thing, I think. Unless the creator wants to give up some of that control, I would rather the creator hold on to it and negotiate any sort of changes. Or, he probably sat down with Tim, and Tim's like, look, I'm a writer and this is what I would put in here. But very interesting little lore bits that, even if we got some kind of idea of them in the movies, it's nice to get a little bit more. And it makes me think, to me, this is kind of like a little bit of a precursor for some of the lore that we might get in Terrifier 4. So I really dig this. I really dig it. I just, I guess it surprises me because you just never know, especially you never know who's watching the pre-recorded stuff or when someone's catching a replay. I see you when you join the lives and everything, but there's no way of knowing who's watching in those off hours, right? I drink the sugar-free Monsters Fun. I like some of those sugar-free ghost energy drinks, like the sour watermelon, the Welch's grape, pink lemonade. I really like that kind of stuff. Yeah. The sour, what was it? Like a Sour Patch, like blue raspberry. That was pretty good too. Yeah. The book is really fun detail and very gross. And, yeah, I like it. I like it quite a bit. Gina says my morning watches are Night, Jake, and yourself. Also Fate. Heck yeah. That's amazing to be included with that group. Those guys have such great channels, really awesome content. And I feel very, very thankful to be included in that group, Gina. I'm not sure they revealed how he died in the movie, to be honest. That sounds pretty new to me. I thought they had said something about, I thought it was like a heart attack or a car crash. But I don't remember hearing anything about it being deemed something that he did to himself on purpose. I don't want to use the word because I don't know how YouTube feels about using that word. But I don't know if he unalived himself on purpose or if they mention that in the movies. So it sounds like the same kind of demonic force that has now inhabited Victoria. And was the little pale girl before that. It sounds like they're kind of insinuating that spirit began, or maybe not began, but embodied Sienna's father before jumping to the little pale girl and then jumping to Victoria. Now, whether or not some of that spirit was also in Art at some point, I guess we'll find out in Terrifier 4. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, it's, story is not the heavy part of the Terrifier movies for sure. So it's easy to forget. Sour Patch Blue Raz is my favorite. Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious to know if they're going to put out a second edition that fixes some of the mistakes. I found like 5 or 6, maybe something like that. About a half a dozen mistakes so far. Just like misprints on people's, maybe there was like a word or two just as syntax goes, or maybe I read it wrong. But usually it sort of trips me up, and I've tried to acknowledge each one so you guys at least know that it's not me making a mistake. There's been a couple times where names have been swapped around. Dennis and Maurice Jackson, the two demolition guys, they mixed up their names once, and then we just got a mix up on Eddie and Smokey's name. in this last chapter. So, but yeah, it's a really good read, Joel. It's I mean, I'm having fun doing it here on YouTube, and I am considering starting a separate channel to do, you know, kind of like ASMR and story time. So I don't know if you guys are into that. Let me know in the comments. Hit me up. Let me know somehow that that's something you want to see, and I'll get it going. I know Allie wants me to do it, and I know Allie wants me to read naughty books. So that could be kind of fun too, and maybe a little weird. Maybe it would bring me a totally brand new audience of thirsty gals, huh? Not that we don't have plenty of those around here already, right? Misprints are usually worth more later on. Well, yeah, and this is a first edition. The cool thing about this book, this version, you know, I ordered it right on Amazon as soon as I could because I legitimately was worried that it would sell out really quick. The hardback would sell out because the paperback would be available. I think it's probably available now. I think it was just a few days later or a week later that they did a paperback. At least I think they've already got a paperback, and I know they have a digital copy. But I was concerned. I was like, shit, if I don't get this, because Terrifier fans are rabid fans. They're very dedicated. I was like, this thing's going to sell out. So I ordered it a couple days. I did a pre-order a few days before it came out. And this was printed. I think it says, yeah, December 3rd. I received it on December 6th. So this thing is like hot off the presses. And it was printed in Las Vegas. So really, Las Vegas is like a 4-hour drive from where I live, like a 45-minute flight. So, you know, made right up the street, as it were. And yeah, really, really cool to have a first edition for sure. Court of Thorns incoming. Is that a book? Gotcha. Is that one of those sexy books? Davey will find him a woman for sure. Yes, naughty books. Let's get weird. Yeah, maybe I will. I'm all messed up inside, Allie. I got some work to do before I'm ready for that, but I do love the ladies, that's for sure. Gina says I'd listen to non-sex books. Well, there you go. I'd probably just put it up for a vote. I think that's what I do. If I started that channel and did that kind of thing, I'd probably pick a few things that I know I want to read, you know, some more horror stuff, the Halloween books and stuff like that. But what we could do is we could do super chat goals, or we could do something where it's like, hey, if you want me to read this book, you know, purchase it, send me a copy, I'll read the book for you, you know, like that kind of thing. And then maybe we get to the point where there's memberships and members, you know, can have the vote on who or which book I would read next, right? Just drive to Vegas in like 3 hours. There we go. I guess you could in 3 hours if you drove like I drive and you didn't take any breaks. How about that? It's true. We are all messed up inside. We got work to do. Sexy books behind a paywall for sure. Yeah. Yep. I don't know if I could read those. I don't know about that. How are you doing, Miss Candy? Welcome on in. I'm all finished reading, but you can scrub on back. We read chapters 13 and 14 today. And let's see here. I do have to head out, guys. I've got to get ready for work and head out there. But please, there's a link pinned in the chat for Keelan's channel, Kill the Credits. Now, Keelan is going live for the very first time tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Our good buddy Lito Velasco is going to join him, and they're going to watch All Through the House, which is a movie that Lito plays the killer in. It's a Christmas-themed horror movie, and it's going to be Keelan's very first time watching it, maybe your first time watching it as well. I believe it's available on multiple streaming platforms, and I think you can watch it for free on Tubi. And I will say this just to let everyone know, if you use the Brave browser on whatever device you're using, you can skip commercials on Tubi. It just automatically, it'll pause for like a half second and then just go right by it. So that's a nice little thing if you want to avoid commercial time, especially during watch parties, so you don't fall behind the stream or the chat. But let's see here. Gina wants to hear the Halloween books. You've got a much better voice than me. Oh, than the channel I sent you. I like that guy's voice, but it is a different kind of voice, right? There's something charming about his voice, but yeah, I guess I would say that this probably sounds conceited. I don't mean it in this way at all, because I do like that guy's voice, but maybe my voice is just a little more soothing, you know, something like that. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm going to get all cleaned up and get rid of this crazy hat hair I've got with my Santa hat on. And I'm going to go try to set some appointments for some replacement windows and doors. So I will see you guys later on this weekend. I'm planning on doing a members only stream on Sunday. So channel members, get ready for that. Sunday might be probably early evening, something like that. Or maybe it just might be in the early afternoon, honestly. I haven't decided yet, but keep an eye out for a members only stream and we'll hang out. Those members only streams are really fun. They're, you know, a little more intimate and, you know, just even more about you guys and what you want to talk about. And I love having that time with the members. So thank you all so very much for kicking it with me here in the middle of the day on a Friday. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I hope you have an awesome weekend, and you'll see me popping up in chats here and there. And of course, you'll see me on Sunday if you're a channel member. And if you haven't checked out the videos that I've dropped earlier this week, go ahead and hit the videos tab on the channel and give those a watch. I've got some news and some trailer breakdowns. I do frame by frame trailer breakdowns here, which are really fun. So I love you guys. Thank you so much to all the Patreon members, the YouTube channel members, of course, and our awesome group of Death Squad mods. You guys are absolutely incredible. Everything that you guys do, whether you're a channel member, a Patreon member or not, everything that you guys do for the community and the channel is so very much appreciated, not only by me, but by everybody else. So just know that, and can't wait to hang out with you guys again. But until next time, I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.